What's up, everybody? This is week number 2 of season 5, talking about the episode of Strangers for our The Walking Dead podcast. I'm Aaron.
Riverman here.
And Pat.
Talking about Strangers, I gotta say, right off the top here, it was a breath of fresh air to have an episode that was straight up continuity from the first one. I loved it. I mean, I love the fact that, because we got really, that was one of my pet peeves of the last couple seasons, and I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but I loved it for what it's worth. At least the first 2 were just direct in sequence, and it was just a great start.
It's a great start, but I mean, it definitely had its problems. You know, it wasn't perfect by any means. But
I already think we're going to have differences, River.
Really?
I already think we're going to have differences here. So before we get into the overall problems, though, it started out with them in the woods. I mean, pretty much picked right off. They're walking through the woods. We get a little bit of moments with Daryl and Carol. We got the moment that I really liked, actually, with Rick and Carol, sort of the making peace of things. And I love that moment where Rick sort of surrendered to Carol and said, "Hey, look, we dismissed you out into the woods here. We're asking to join you, not the other way around." Mm-hmm. I thought that was a real olive branch, and I thought it was good dialogue too.
Well, Carol saved his ass, so he had to say that.
You would too.
He was a gentleman of the way he said it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was really an olive branch, and it was really cool.
Well, and then it shows humility on his part as the leader as well.
Absolutely.
That he's not just so up his own ass, knowing that he's in charge of everything, that he can't lower himself to, ask for forgiveness, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And he's actually taken a step up in my book this year. I mean, I used to hate Rick with a passion, and he's not so bad now. I mean, I'm not a Rick lover by any means, but he's not as bad as he used to be. Let's just say
I don't think there's a character on the show that you actually love.
Really?
Who?
Hey, that's a good question. I can't think off the top of my head.
I've always loved Rick. I've always thought he was a good character. But, especially so far this season, I know we're only 2 in, but what's not to like about Rick opposed to everybody else? Because right now, you got to be on Rick's side. Because once again, we're going to get into it. Dun, dun, dun. He should have stayed back and killed everybody. We knew it was going to happen, But
yeah.
I like the autistic retard. That's who I like.
The what?
Who?
What's his name?
I think you're talking about Life Goes On.
Eugene,
yeah.
Are we talking about Corky Thatcher from Life Goes On?
Yeah.
No, but going along the woods, they come across an interesting character. I forget his name. What was his first name? The preacher, the father.
Father Gabriel?
Father Gabriel, that's right. And you know what? Even him, I thought he was I mean, obviously, if you're keeping up with the show, even in the slightest, he's got to send off red flags to a viewer. Obviously, the priest, and the Beth thing, the attached to the vehicles, all that stuff. There's got to be some little connection there somewhere. But he was a cool character, and actually, he was really good at displaying how much Rick has changed as a character. Right from the get-go, he didn't trust him, and I like it. I like that Rick. Even when he seemed like a helpless preacher on top of a rock and all that stuff, he didn't care. He's like, put your hands up. I don't know. I like the attitude. And
Carl and Rick are kind of reversing roles because Carl's kind of the more genuine character now, and Rick's going back to his old ways.
Well, this is a first, and I hope it's not the last. But I did not mind Carl in this episode. It was minimal. He didn't play a huge part, but the couple of scenes that he was in, they made sense. They were good scenes, and I didn't have a problem with it. And he didn't seem like such a whiny little bitch. The scene at the end that he was in, he was cool. He was on watch. He actually discovered some, the scratch marks or whatever and the little message on the side of the house. He's doing, what Rick would probably do. He was serving his purpose. So, I don't know.
We like the characters more when they don't talk.
Yeah, well, in minimal screen time, it was a really, really well-balanced episode. But, the highlight, okay, so they get to this guy's church, and obviously he's suspicious from the get-go, but he talks about dry goods. They decide, they pretty much all against Sheamus there, WWE Sheamus, that they're not going to go straight to WWE. They find a short bus, which is very convenient. But yeah, everybody else wants to follow Rick, and they want to stay and get supplies and all that good stuff. Smart thinking, I guess. And which, by the way, I want to say, I thought I'm going to keep calling him Sheamus. I don't care. Sheamus. Shabraham. Shabraham. Anyway, I thought when he got introduced to the show, he was an alpha male. I thought him and Rick were really going to go at it, but it seems like he's really succumbing, like really just submitting really early on, and he respects.
Well, he kind of knows he needs them to actually get to Washington. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's like a unwritten kind of compromise going on, I guess, because they really haven't clashed over the fact of whether or not. And Rick, surprisingly enough, I mean, you knew it was going to happen, that they're gonna jump on board to ride the Washington train, but probably never ever get there.
I'm just surprised that the writers themselves didn't use the two characters as a plot device just to have a little drama. I mean, I'm glad it's not there. It would have been unnecessary drama, I think. But
then we'd take it to like season frickin' 12 or something like that by the time it was all said.
Until they make up or one of them kills the other, like Shane.
I love Seamus's little speech in the church, though. That was kind of cool.
Before we get to that, he's growing on me like I like Seamus. Damn it, Shabraham. From the beginning. But before we got there, they questioned Gabriel about obviously the last house that he didn't raid. They go there, and we got to talk about a key scene. I love the slime zombies.
That was awesome, man. Yeah.
The slime zombies, they look like a Swamp Thing. Mm-hmm. But that entire scene was intense. And I got to throw out, I like Bob really served his purpose in this episode. And I even like just, it was pointless. I don't know if it served much for purpose that we were at least shown, but I love just the old school, like Romero hand jumping out of the water, just jump factor,
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment that we don't get a lot in the show because this show has turned into a drama action, but that was an actual old school throw your popcorn in the air. So,
well, I think every season they kind of do one of those homages or just kind of do something completely different than just another festering zombie. So yeah, like you said, we got to see these ones that have kind of been affected by being stuck down in what appears to be either a sewer or a well or just kind of a collection of water that has dripped through the ceiling into those.
It's just mulched over or whatever.
Yeah. So you see the effects of just sitting in soaking water, which kind of though wouldn't like if they were down in the water and they got they've been festering so long, those zombies, wouldn't the whatever causes them to be zombies, wouldn't it be in the water? I know it's in the people. It's in
everybody.
It's in
calls
to
that.
Begin with.
Well, and didn't we already go through that with season 2 with the zombie in the well?
Oh, that. Oh, okay.
The zombie was in the well. We already kind of went over that with infecting water, I think. But yeah, and you have the priest, you have Father Gabriel, pretty much falling to his knees out of fright because he sees obviously somebody he was connected to, a wife, a lover, the zombie with glasses, and he's putting his chin almost at the brim of the water line. Don't drink it. There's, yeah. I mean, they're not really that careful. You'd think they'd be super careful about those situations, but Bob, he got submerged in it. Some of that went up his nose and his ears and his mouth. Come on.
This leads me to a good question. Did he get bit? Was he out in the woods to kill himself? Is that what the thing was?
He was crying. Because they didn't explain.
And they blatantly showed the gun in his back pocket. So then that leads me to another question: is if they're fucking eating his leg, why don't they just all of a sudden turn really quick? Or aren't they going to get sick all of a sudden?
Well, before we jump that far, I'm surprised. I thought, yeah, I was thinking okay,
no, I want
he got
answers,
bit.
Damn it.
I got some answers for you.
He got bit, but I was kind of surprised that he was keeping his composure so long. I mean, I guess we don't know how much time passed from when they were having their Kumbaya celebration and when he got...
There's no way he'd survive if he got bit that long.
But the tears had to have meant something, and even the gun that you noticed, it had to have meant something.
I think it was the fact that he was I don't know, kind of happy that he actually got out of the situation. He should have died down there in the basement or whatever. Well,
why was he out there? Was he just standing guard? I mean, but Rick already made it clear that everybody stay tightly together because he already kind of got the inside from Daryl. I mean, his instincts that, hey, I felt like there was somebody watching us. He wanted to keep everybody tight together. I don't think he would send Bob alone out there in the dark in the woods.
And they blatantly showed the gun in the shot too when he turned around.
Yeah, and obviously he thought he was going out there to off himself, but.
For somebody for a group that they're pressuring to stick together, they sure are piss poor at keeping a head count. Yeah. Is everybody here? Oh, we're missing Bob?
Oh, Carol's leaving. Where the hell's she going?
Take fucking roll every hour or something. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, and then Carol's
fed up with everything now.
We had Carol outside. They showed her killing a zombie at night. Daryl came up on her, asked her what she was doing. I mean, she just wandered off too. Is that all that was?
Who the hell knows what's up with her, man? That is so stupid. It's just a reason to see the car and go after Beth.
And it was cool though. I thought it was fluid.
Not not really, because it didn't really explain anything. We're not getting like, there's no contextualizing what they're doing. Like, maybe they'll kind of gloss over. It's like the flu that was in the prison. Like, oh, apparently everybody was dying. What was that? I don't know. Okay, well, move on with it. Who gives a shit? We got other things. There's the governor. It's just, I don't know. That stuff just kind of bugs me about the writing altogether, I guess. But
why would she go out in the woods by herself and try to leave the group?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Unless she was leaving for good.
Yeah.
Which, was she leaving for good, and why would she leave for good? She didn't want to leave when Rick sent her away.
She's all hunky dory with them like 2 minutes beforehand.
Well, yeah, she loves being around Tyrese. Which, if anybody hasn't noticed, that dude's gotten fatter since they started this. So that dude's eating good during the zombie month.
Must be all that pudding that Carl's hiding.
I mean, it might not justify it enough for you guys, but I mean, they made it clear that she's dealing with some personal demons or forgiveness or whatever.
How? They had the moment with Tyrese, which we're still fucking talking about this.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been like, a couple weeks ago for the actual story of the in the actual time context of the story. But as far as I'm concerned, it was 100 years ago because it was a season and a half ago. I don't care.
And he wanted to get over it, or he wanted to put it behind him or whatever, or vice versa. I mean, she really didn't seem too upset about the whole ordeal, and he did. I mean, it really affected him, but now she's the one who wants to fucking leave. It doesn't make any sense.
And we haven't had this conversation on the days that we've been walking around with the baby and killing zombies and doing other things together. It's just, come on now.
Well, before getting to that whole end sequence there, what did we think? What did we think about Gabriel? What do we think he's hiding? Obviously, the girl with the glasses. We saw the picture. We kind of saw that coming. But what about the rest of it? What's his connection to the people that took Beth, or what is it that Rick thinks he's hiding?
He was obviously with one of those groups, and the fact is, they're probably cannibals. They're probably some religious cult that might have taken Beth, and he got out of there or something. I mean, he just doesn't want to, admit what actually happened. I don't know. We haven't seen the whole thing yet.
What was he doing out in the woods? Do you think he got separated, or do you think he was like bait for them to lead him back there? Or
probably. I mean, maybe he has something to do with, God, I can't even think of his name. Terminus?
The Terminus guy.
Yeah.
At first, it just reeked of a setup, because if this guy is really going to be that much of a wimp when even one walker comes up near him. He says he says he doesn't go out too far. He says he's had to like scavenge for food and stuff. I can't see him even going out and doing that much.
No.
I mean, getting 5 feet. I mean, at first that's what I thought. I mean, he might, I don't know. I don't know how he would have contacted if you talking about Terminus? You think he's related to Terminus or the Beth guys? Unless they were always watching him. The Terminus guys were watching every bit. Yeah.
He's a part of one of the two, I would think.
Maybe he was bait and the Terminus were watching as they took him back. I don't know.
He's got to be a part of one of them.
I'm not too sure.
What do you think, Pat?
I just think I'm going to be bored. Because here we are with another setup episode. Okay, we have another alpha male that we're going to set on the other side of Rick, as the showdown's going to happen and people are going to die, and then we already got it again. We already called it that. People would drive off, and then we'd have to go try to find them, because you already heard it on the next Walking Dead. There's 3 people missing, so we know Beth or Carol and Daryl are gone.
Son of a bitch.
On top of Bob needs a new peg leg out in the woods. So it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of rehashing the same old crap, sort of. Just putting a new bow on it.
I agree.
I didn't hate the episode, and I didn't particularly dislike it. It's just, it felt like I had seen a lot of it before, but at the same time, it was just like, oh well, duh. And then just kind of like my the continuity issues where I don't know. There's a problem with a lot of the storytelling on this, where there's a lot of questions, and I'm all for shows and movies that aren't necessarily meant to be understood, but are meant to be questioned. But at the same time, there's actual theories, like what I said with the flu. Was that just some freak occurrence that everybody was getting sick just being in close quarters together? Or was it something, was it something else? Because it was killing people awfully fast and super sudden, and we needed to burn everybody because of it. And, yeah, just stuff like that. It just kind of pisses me off.
Oh, that's the one thing that chapped my ass last season. They kind of really didn't tie that up at all, which pissed me off. But
why bother? Well, we can just change the subject.
And then how's Rick going to kill off this antagonist like he has this past 5 seasons? He's going to kill him off. They're not going to kill Rick off.
Oh, come on. You know as well as I do, they're all going to board that school bus, and it's going to be a National Lampoon senior trip, and they're going to be following them from behind. They're going to follow them.
They're going to be the fucking Partridge Family singing on the bus.
Yep.
Following them to D.C., yeah. I mean, I'm going to try my best not to judge what's going to come in the entire season. I'm trying to take it episode by episode, and I don't know, like I think my grade's going to differ greatly from your guys's, but the ending, at least, the ending was fantastic. I don't mind the setup for them seeing the hearse or whatever the heck that religious cult car was. I don't mind that at all. It's moving along, thank God. But the Bob thing was great. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that he was going to have no leg. I didn't see that they were going to be. I thought that was an awesome touch. I loved it. I thought it was a great ending.
Why not char his whole body and fucking eat him?
Because maybe he wants answers.
They're saving him for later.
What does he want answers for? He knows where the fuck they are. He doesn't give a shit what they're doing.
They don't have a chest freezer.
They cut off his leg and cauterize the wound. Is that what they do?
Yeah, and we can, Aaron. They probably know enough that they can make jerky out of all of them. I mean, you just kind of cure it. Cure it. You just kind of cure it in the air. I mean,
they're wasting the foot. They can make jerky out of the foot. It's so rough. What else would you do with it? They're just leaving it there. But or maybe they're gonna make soup out of it, like the ham bone, the foot soup.
Make some good stock. Make a nice jambalaya.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's plenty of forageable vegetables around in the area. They're in the woods.
I don't know. They don't have. It's not like they have a chest freezer. I know, jerky aside, they don't have a smoker either. They don't have all that stuff. But maybe, yeah, like you said, they're going to keep him bound up. They're going to cauterize him. He's not. If they killed them all and cooked them all, it would go bad.
But it's just a blatant Hannibal Lecter ripoff, is what it is.
Oh, you're fucking way too harsh.
I can understand both sides of the coin because it is something that's sadistic. And it is really hardcore, and for The Walking Dead, like something that graphic. I mean, you see graphic shit all the time on The Walking Dead, and we've watched way too many horror movies as it is. So I guess to the layman, it is pretty shocking to where it's easy for us to be jaded and say, "Oh yeah, they totally ripped that off." Any number of horrors or zombie movies that And I try not to look at it that way.
Well, it's one of the most iconic scenes in the Hannibal movie.
This is your bias, Riverman, coming out. And you're being way too harsh. I mean, then Hannibal Lecter just ripped off countless real life cannibals. He just ripped off Ed Gein and
talking to them while they're eating their brains or eating.
Oh my God, let it go! I'm pretty sure Jeffrey Dahmer did similar sick things.
Oh, I'm just saying it's been done. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I was pissed off about it. I'm just saying it's been done.
Nobody was. Now, if he was having sex with him like Jeffrey Dahmer did with Bob, then it'd be fucked up.
He was having sex with the foot?
Well, no, because Jeffrey Dahmer had sex with all those bodies and stuff like that. That was weird.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not going to be harsh. The fact of the reality is as long as I can envision it happening in real life, if something absurd like a zombie apocalypse really happened, I mean, hypothetically. Fuck yeah, there'd be cannibals. And I don't think any one of those people going hungry would worry about it. Well, I don't know. Hannibal Lecter did it first. I don't want people to think wrong of me.
I'm not talking about that.
I don't want people to question. I don't want people to question my originality.
I get both sides of the coin. I can understand why they did it. Just as this graphic thing, but at the same time, it is kind of hard not to just kind of call cheap pops on it. But, I mean, it is what it is.
And you think he'd be in shock, He probably would bleed out.
It would hurt like a motherfucker unless they got some propofol or something, some like Michael Jackson type shit to put you out.
But the thing is if stuff like this didn't happen, I have a feeling some people, River, would cry, boring, nothing's happening. I mean, this show's about cheap shocks. Give me the cheap shocks. I'll take that over them wandering like fucking Lord of the Rings for 20 episodes. And just talking, I'll take the cheap shocks.
Yeah, I mean they have stepped up the stuff to where it isn't 3 episodes in a row of getting drunk in a cabin and just kind of hanging out and killing a zombie every here and there. I mean, they only make like half the episode, so I mean, there's progress.
The sad thing is Bob is going to survive, And
what do you think? They're gonna have him hopping around the woods and shit?
No, they're gonna rescue Bob.
They already did that with Herschel.
They're gonna rescue Bob just like Herschel. It's so stupid. They had a perfect opportunity to kill off Bob, and it would have been a great ending. And Bob would have been gone. I mean, as we predicted last week, Bob was gonna be the first to die. I think it was you, Aaron, that predicted that.
I bet he's not necessarily dead yet. I think you're being way too negative. Because I'm trying to give credit where it's due.
But no, this season would be going off with a bang if something like that would happen. You finally kill off a main character, which they haven't done in a fucking season. It's ridiculous.
If you want to go off how predictable something is, when he was hit and bludgeoned over the head, I thought he was going to die. But you know what? It wasn't predictable. I had no idea they were going to tie him up and start eating his leg and solder it. I didn't know that was going to happen. I thought he was going to die. So it's
why would you think he was going to die? I mean, what told you in the past season that he was going to die? Nothing, because they don't kill off main characters in this at first.
But Bob isn't a main character yet. He's not earned that right to me.
Even the middle school characters.
Before that happened,
still
fucking
alive.
tell that to Lou Temple. Tell that to all these people that get killed out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That was the first 3 seasons, and
I'm saying
past season and a half.
Look. Before Bob actually got it at the very end of the episode, I thought to myself, you know what? If he ends up dying, because I kind of had a feeling, I thought it would be great.
Yes, I did too.
Listen, I thought it would be great because, you know what? He's served a purpose. He's gotten a lot more dialogue in, and he's kind of riding that line between main character and sort of Passover character. But at the same time, I would have been happy with his character had he died. But also, you know what? I'm not so invested in him that I would cry or anything if he died. I thought it would have been just right. So I predicted it that he was going to die, and it didn't happen, and I'm not bummed out about it.
Well, why keep these characters around when they're going to be coming across?
Because this is writing a TV show. We got to move the plot along.
New characters, they're going to be.
They're
why didn't they just
they're
burn them at the stake or something?
They're not going to come across too many more characters before they get to Washington D.C.
How do you know that? They got to deal with the fucking. They got the new preacher. They got to deal with the 2 cults now. It's like.
And they got 1,000 miles between Atlanta and D.C. I'm sure they're going to run into somebody.
I'm hoping to God that when they actually investigate that short bus, they discover that Tommy Chong is in the driver's seat.
Well,
and
I don't
he's
know
going to join their group.
Your optimism for the outcome of this show is just it's admirable at best.
No. I'm not trying to think past. We haven't got to that part yet. I'm not trying to think past the episode. I'm taking the episode because I'm so used to taking these episodes as they come, and I've said it a million times. You know what? We have a million complaints with season 3 and season 4, all these nickel and dimed episodes. But if you were to sit down and binge watch them, if it was a Netflix original series, those episodes would be in better context, and you'd enjoy the series.
But then if that's the fucking point, then why bother airing the episode the way you do? Then
I agree.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can watch House of Cards in 8 hours. That's the brilliant part about it. Like
this show was made for binge watching. I agree, but since we're so used to, we have to take each one. I'm always hoping the next one's going to be better. We always know that the finales, the mid-season finale, there's the given episodes that are going to be a little bit above par, obviously. And so, we're just so used to picking these apart one by one. I'm trying not to look ahead. I'm looking at this one episode by itself.
Yeah. As the season goes on, you care less about everything about this show.
You know what?
Just look at the ratings, man.
What does the ratings have to do with it? They're bigger than ever.
I'm just saying they're just going to keep going down and down. With nothing happening.
That makes no fucking sense what you just said right there. Just look at the ratings. I could pull them up right now if I had the resource, and they're higher than ever.
No, I'm just saying
they're going up and up, River. They're not going down and down.
The more the season goes along and nothing's happening. Just look at last season, dude. I'm sure towards the end. Now I'm not seeing the final episode.
I think you're underestimating the ridiculous loyal following this show has, as dumb or cool as it is. Whatever side of the fence you sit on.
And I'm not saying this was a bad episode by any means, but there was problems with it.
All right. So let's do our predictions, and then we'll go into our ratings. What, Pat?
There's lowest common denominator type things when it comes to the show, and we have to take them with a grain of salt, and that's pretty much the skinny of it. There's going to be the cheap pops. There's going to be the homages for the horde dorks. There's going to be the boring storyline for the housewife and mom genes that happens to turn on The Walking Dead because that's all, that's one of the little bit of excitement or kind of, maybe that's their first exposure into even the horror genre. It's just, it's like listening to an entry level metal band or something like that. They might, because of The Walking Dead, they might go watch Zombie or Night of the Living Dead or any of that shit.
There's countless young girls out there that are claiming, oh, I love anything zombie movies. It's because they watch Walking Dead. But you know what? I'm starting to call a little bullshit, because just because you like The Walking Dead, I'm sorry, go watch Children of the Living Dead. That movie's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Most zombie movies, just like any genre, music, film, whatever, there's a few that rise above the crop, everything else. But most of it is shit. You got to wade through a lot of garbage. The majority of zombie movies are bullshit. So for people that say they love anything zombies, I call bullshit on you.
But you got to think the first two seasons of this series was catered for the horror fans, and now it's a fucking soap opera, and now it's lame because they don't kill off any. The first two seasons, they actually kill off characters, and they made it interesting.
That's a television show in a free market capitalist economy.
No, I know, and I'm just saying that's why it's
that they've been given artistic license to do certain things with a little more liberal artistic license to do things with it than, say, a Game of Thrones, which even does quite a bit of other things, or any other source material that they don't have to stick to every little thing that Kirkman has written in the comic books.
I don't know. It just strikes me as, it was so much more action.
From what I've heard, from what I heard, if they did do that, we'd be even more bored. So
really,
that's what I've read synopsises of where characters are at and stuff like that, and it just. Yeah, if it was kind of true to it, and like the storyline would kept going. They're on issue 147, and I'm not going to tell you, or like 160 or something, and I'm not going to tell you anything. But if it followed it this way, and say like a 12, a couple issues would be a season, we wouldn't be doing this podcast anymore.
Well, funny thing is, you say about that, Pat, is Kirkman actually wrote this past episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he definitely has creative say to a degree. He's like the executive producer, I think, or something in that regard. I think he's smart enough to realize that what works in print doesn't work for TV. Anybody that goes sees any kind of adaptation, be it film from a book or whatever, is retarded, because they should know they're going to come out. If they go in thinking, trying to weigh it up against the book or its source material, whatever, they're going to come out disappointed. That's absolutely retarded. It's absolutely stupid. But anyway, speaking of this podcast, what I thought was going to be one of the quickest episodes we've done in a while is now turning with this fucking debate. I want to get into what we think is going to happen with the next episode, because I can't wait to talk about the ratings and put the stamp on it. Well, Pat, I'm going to start with you, man. What you think is going to happen?
Maybe another character goes ahead. I think we'll finally get some update on what Beth has been up to. It looks like we're going to have a party heading out into the woods to see if we can find Bob. So I'm not quite sure exactly how that'll go, because maybe they'll meet up with what's his face from Terminus. Maybe they won't. I don't know. They can't be that far away, so I got to think that they have. And from the previews from the entire season, I think it's going to happen actually before the mid-season break rather quickly. So the next episode, I don't know. There's a lot of open questions. Again, I'm all for. I think there's a lot of questions with regards to where we're at in this season, because again, we're back out in the woods. We don't have as much structure. It's a little more free form as to what can happen, but that also kind of, like I have been saying as well, lends itself to just kind of resorting to the same old tactics. Okay, well, let's wander off in the woods. Let's split up. Oh no, they split up. We got to go get them. Oh no, well, we got to go get them while they got the other people. And I just don't want that to happen. So hopefully it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. I think that you're probably closer to being right than you are wrong. Unfortunately, I hope it goes a better way. That's what I'm saying. I'm just going to judge this one episode, but you're probably right. In everything you said. They're gonna go on the search again. I don't know if it's gonna take as long for Terminus guys because they're being hunted. It's not like they're gonna run across them. But I think, I'm kind of on par with you, is what you say. I hope it's a little different. I hope it becomes unpredictable, but whatever. But yeah, and I don't think we're going to see Beth in the next episode. They might catch like a trail or a trace, or like, oh, here's a shard of clothes, or hey, she's been shitting in this corner. It's still wet.
So
I don't. It's still wet anymore. Oh, what about you, River? What do you think's going to happen?
Kind of like on the same lines. I think half the group, or some of the group's going to go off and try to hunt down Daryl and Carol, which would probably be Rick's side of the group, and then the other group's going to go out and try to hunt for Bob. They're going to get split up, and then all hell's going to break loose. And just like I was saying, I mean, I think Glenn and Maggie are kind of minimalistic characters this season, so
I know you want them to fucking die.
I'm hoping Glenn dies off. I know. I never said Maggie. Because
I'm not saying you're not right. I want him to die too. I really do. But it's funny because you're
And hopefully Rosita gets offed, and Tara, and is that white girl Tara?
Yeah, the lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm kind of sick of looking at her face.
She has hardly shown her face this season. This is like her first couple of scenes.
She talks to Maggie. She's of course we got to go over the whole governor thing. Like, I didn't.
But
know
it was real quick. Todd,
she
Riverman,
does this to everybody.
I'm breaking character. Todd, I'm pulling rank. Todd,
damn.
I'm just saying you would complain if they didn't mention it. At least they mentioned it was over quick.
Nobody cares about her.
It was over quick.
What's the point of her? What is they don't need 15 characters that we're following. They don't need 15 characters.
It was over really quick, and I think it was well done, good. They mentioned it because people like you would be bitching that they just swept that aside. It's fine. It's fine.
Her onto the. What's the point of having 15 characters?
It was literally 20 seconds.
Pat, you were 15 characters. Do we have to follow 15 characters? 15 different storylines, soap operas, all that shit. I don't care about 15 people in this show. That's what they keep doing. They keep adding people and adding people. It's going to be 24 people by the end of the season.
What do you expect? The show that keeps going on, they're gonna add people. It's like a soap opera.
And
they got to kill people off.
You got to kill them off. Okay, when did they kill them off? What,
We're due for a few kills. We are, and I think we should get it like in a slaughter. I think we should just get like half of them. And I'm hopeful the guy maybe will get it. I don't freaking know. But this is actually a perfect seg for you to give us your rating because I'm just analyzing.
I didn't hate the episode. I give it.
Okay, go ahead.
I said there's problems with it. I give it a 7 out of 10.
And what were your problems with it?
Like I was saying, you call me an elitist, a horror elitist, and the whole Hannibal Lecter ripoff, that sort of thing. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I mean, I could see why some people would actually like it. That it was dragging on and on. I thought it was kind of slow at times. That was the only part that maybe had an upside towards it. And then I thought the whole Carol thing running off was really fucking stupid.
Pat, what about you?
I'm going with a 7. Same things all that I touched upon. The continuity thing, I just don't think. I think that's a major issue with the writers on this show, like I highlighted earlier. I just think that there's a lot of things that they think their audience isn't as smart as they actually are. It's kind of like sports broadcasters who dumb down their broadcasts. Get all high and mighty about a fan streaking or something like that. Oh, how terrible is it? Who do you think you're talking to? Like who do you think you're telling a story to? Like, do you not think we're going to question these things? So that just kind of bugs me. I was just as entertained. Well, I guess I shouldn't say as entertained. It entertained me, and it wasn't as bad of an episode as all of us might, who are bitching about it, make it out to be. It just shows signs of problems that kind of continue to exist in the show that I've kind of recognized, and I hope don't continue more and aren't indicative of just how the series is going to continue to be overall, because if not, then, again, like we keep bringing up the fact that maybe they're meant to be watched in binges and stuff like that, but it just kind of bugs me that if that's the case, then air the episodes that way. I understand the ratings and stuff like that and what you're going to get, but just come on now. Again, stop. It doesn't insult my intelligence, but it just kind of, I don't know. It just makes me just kind of question what they're thinking. So
you forgot to mention the whole Michonne thing and now how soft-hearted she is now. That was pretty fucking.
She's happy to be.
Called development. It's called development. River.
I'm dropping my sword. I'm done with that.
At least they're not trying to tell her about how she became Michonne 2 seasons after they introduced the character again.
That's true. I guess they did that.
How she became Michonne, like she's fucking Spider-Man.
Well, I mean,
Or
it
she's
kind
a
of was.
samurai.
It kind of was a transformation in that weird ass, trippy kind of Soprano-esque dream thing that she was having there.
But it didn't make sense.
I was
because
bitten by a radioactive Rastafarian,
Okay.
and then I became Michonne.
Two
Rastafarian samurai.
2 episodes ago, she was a fucking samurai chopping everybody's heads off when she was in what was that, Terminus? And then 2 episodes later, she's done with that whole thing. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
People change, man.
They changed in 2 episodes. They changed.
I think you got to give. I think you got to give a little credit
Isn't that
to.
dumb?
I think you got to give a little credit and acknowledge that this show is fantasy. It's fiction, and because it's fiction,
It's fiction, but it just
we've
doesn't
not
make any
because
sense.
it's fiction. Because it's fiction, we can't relate or empathize completely with the situation. As ridiculous as this, it's fantasy, man. Do I really think a Tin Man can have no heart or even have a heart at all? Do I
I'm
think
just saying,
a lion?
why does the characters change in 2 episodes just from nothing?
And suspending reality can only get you so far. Like, I understand it's a zombie apocalypse, and depending on who you ask, that's highly improbable. But at the same time, there's still logic, and there's still like real story continuity, and there's still, all the things that fall into place when actually creating a narrative. And this show fails to do some of those things.
So why did she drop her sword? Why is she done with that after 2 episodes? I don't understand that. What happened within those 2 episodes?
And it was
She had the breakthrough with Carl. She had the breakthrough.
That was
she
after the fact.
But
That
he
was
does
before the fact.
kind of have you on this one, Aaron, because it is literally, like you just even pointed out, it's 2 days after the fact of where she was basically cutting people's heads off right before Terminus. So that must have been a revelation that she had literally on that walk,
On the walk from Terminus.
basically.
Well, yeah,
or
whatever.
or while she was sitting there. I hate to be devil's advocate in this one, because especially the amount of that I'm trying to play the middle ground here in this one. That's why we work so well together, people. But he does have you on this one, because the continuity of it, like you said, it is right after Terminus. So they were only in Terminus. They couldn't have been in Terminus longer than a week. So, I mean, when did she decide it? When we were in the train
Did
call?
Michonne even do any of the damage in Terminus, or was she one of the parties that was locked up? Because there was 2 parties.
She was cutting everybody's heads off, and they call her the samurai and all this shit, and she was the badass and all that.
Well, I mean, I think with this season, I officially stopped taking this damn show so seriously. I mean, like
What are
I
we doing
said,
the podcast for?
I was bored to tears. Well, that's what you're there for, to overanalyze everything. But I'm saying I was bored to tears for
supposed
2
to do.
seasons straight. I was bored to tears for 2 seasons straight. I will take characters speeding up their progression. I will take Michonne dropping her sword in 2 episodes instead of hearing
no
her
reason.
just talk about shit for 3 seasons. I'll take it. I'll take cheap thrills. I'll take all that stuff. It's better. It is better than that drawn out story stuff. I will take it because it's entertainment. At the core of it, at the genius of all of it, it's just entertainment. And that's what I want at this point.
No.
I don't want inspiration to go write my own zombie movie. I don't want inspiration to go be a hunter.
No, I'm
I
just
don't
saying,
want
Pat
to,
was
I don't
right,
want to
the
pull
writing's
off
horrible.
sleeveless denim.
The
vest.
writing's
I don't-
horrible. There's no
Look, okay.
continuity to it.
Okay, let me give my rating here. First of all, I think the episode. I'm not talking about what's coming after. I freaking reserve all that because you know me. I've beat up on this show too. I thought this episode was balanced. Everybody had a balanced part in it. Like I said, I didn't even hate Carl in it. He served his purpose. I did not mind Tara and her little 20 seconds. I didn't mind that. Everybody was fine and even. And unlike you, River, I wasn't bored. I thought it was paced just fine. I liked it. No, it wasn't super action-packed, but it was paced just right, and everything progressed at a good enough pace for me. And like I said, I was entertained. I thought it was entertaining enough, and I don't mind the cheap thrills. At this point, I don't anyway. And I like the cheap Hannibal Lecter ripoff. Like I said,
Your score, huh?
look, 9 at the least. I thought it was
I
great.
just think it's
I
better
thought
than
it was-
last episode. You're
I thought it was the
crazy.
better. I thought it was better than the
Oh,
first
you're
one.
fucking nuts.
I enjoyed it better than the first one.
This episode was adequate at best.
I just see something different in you guys. I was pleased with it, and I like seeing everybody together. I'm tired of these. It reminded me more like the first couple of seasons because everybody was in this big group. They were. You remember in the first one where they got to that retreat, and they were all together showering in the 1st season. That's what it reminded me of. They found a little bit of a sanctuary.
I'll give you that. There is a bit more, like I said, of the more
camaraderie. They were feasting.
Yeah, there's a bit more of the open feel where we're not enclosed in walls or, just kind of, or we're not even on the farm. There was still kind of the constructs of the property that they were on, where they didn't wander too far much. Now that we're back on the road, I'm actually excited to see where it actually leads. I don't think we'll ever get to Washington, D.C. I think that'll be the ultimate frustration of the show, where they ultimately end it. And that we'll never actually know if they got there, or if they do, they'll leave it a big mystery, I can't wait for that episode of the podcast. Well, if you think if you think I'm negative now, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what Riverman has to say about that. But I just don't think. I don't know. I guess I have to try to find my rewards in the show. It's kind of like picking my battles anymore. So
I just think it didn't excel in any particular area. It wasn't like uberly violent. It wasn't a whole bunch of action. It was even.
It was perfectly adequate.
It was balanced enough, and I enjoyed the episode. And like I said, there wasn't a single character I was pissed off at in this episode. I liked Rick's character. I liked the things he was doing in his
15 prior episodes to last season.
Yeah, exactly, asshole. All right, 9. Okay, so 7, 7, and a 9. I don't know what that averages out to, but I think it's the first time in history. I don't know if I'm ever higher than you guys like that.
You're always higher than us.
No, I'm usually on the level, or I've been a little below.
I'm usually on there with Pat. You're usually a little higher than us.
I think last time me and Pat were even Stevens.
Yeah, I think I was a 9. Yeah, I think it was 9 this week.
Yeah,
you were
both 8s last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Just like.
Maybe somebody at home could keep track of this crap for us, so we could, call us on our bullshit.
Yeah.
I just like this episode. I thought it was a good episode. But anyway, I'm curious to know what everybody else thinks, because clearly we had a divide here. So feel free to write in, go to the website, comment there, the YouTube, subscribe there, obviously the Facebooks, BTM Presents, all that great stuff, btmpresents.com. Also, if you like to write, we could always to give us their dumb opinion on this stupid show and other shows. So by all means, go on the website, btmreview.com, go to our contact section and reach out that way. Really quick, let me get to it. Robert Rockula, a good friend of ours from Rockula Retrospective, he wrote in. He called in. He called out. Remember the last episode? We didn't realize who the kid was. The two people that got cut and freaking drained into the tub. Mm-hmm. We didn't even realize it. That's how fast this moves. And he listened to our podcast and he commented, I believe on the YouTube, mentioning, hey, this was the hippie kid, this was that. Because there's a lot of people out there that are way more attentive to detail. It blows my mind how attentive to detail people are. Because me, like you said, Pat, maybe in the universe or whatever, it's like 2 days ago. Mm. But for me, that was a season and a half ago.
We don't even know the characters' names half the time.
Well, but I'm just saying, so it impresses me, and he called us out on that, and he was right.
We're not qualified for this podcast at all.
Well, we're the Joe Everyman. We're the average guy. I think we're very qualified. I don't know. But anyway, yes, and we need to pitch out the call line one more time. You can call us, leave a voicemail, leave your feedback. If it's not too racist, we'll even play it on the show but we'll definitely answer it. But Riverman, give him that.
Do we get racist responses?
You have no idea.
Yeah. I want to listen to the voicemails I have to listen to.
People
yes, I do.
People just think Riverman's a Jew for some reason. I can feel them. I can feel where they're coming from with his scores.
I have an afro, people, but I'm not black.
No, that number is 402-218-2007.
One more time.
402-218-2007.
All right, until then, obviously check us out, btmreview.com. I've been Aaron.
Riverman.
Pat.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, Canada.